It's Monday, January the 8th, 2024. And I'm starting my weekly vlog here on a Monday, so you can take that as an indication of how eventful my weekend was. Not very eventful. Got some rest though, and I'm getting very rested. I have been working in the shop. I've been building some frames, and you can see here how well I'm getting along there. I'm going to run out of foundation first. I've got about 80 sheets of foundation left, so I'll build those, and then that'll be the end of that for now. I'm not sure I'll go buy foundation again right away, and here's why. I have in my apiary stored those 700 frames that I culled last summer. So there's 700 frames and 700 sheets of foundation there waiting for me to take care of them. I need warm weather, I need summer weather to take care of those because I want to pressure wash the foundation. I want to put the frames in my melter and wash those up real nice, and then I'll put those back together. So that's 700 frames. That's a lot of frames, and I don't think I need to be that concerned about building a ton of brand new frames. I'm just doing this because I got nothing else to do. I can't do anything else. I guess an update for you from Friday. I didn't update Friday because I was away. I went to the optometrist Friday. And the good news is, optometrist is very, very pleased with the acuity of my vision. I can see so clearly, and it's just really, really, really amazing how well I can see. The bad news is there's an elevated pressure in my eye, which is the common kind of side effect after that surgery. So it's not unusual that the pressure is high. However, it's not a good thing. And so I'm not sure what they're going to do about that. If anything, he said that there's a possible side effect of one of the eye drops that I'm taking, that it can sometimes elevate the pressure in the eye. So what that really means to me is I'm still under restrictions, and I'm under restrictions, man. I really got to take it easy, because anytime I stoop or bend or strain to lift anything, that then pushes pressure into the head and into the eye, I guess. So that's what they tell me I can't do. So that means I just can't lift anything. I can't bend over to pick anything up off the floor. And when my body's feeling it, I'm really feeling the effects of not being active. I told that to my optometrist. He's hilarious. I love my optometrist. I've been going to him for over 20 years. And I said that to him. I said, it's just taking a toll on me, the lack of activity kind of thing. I try to go for a walk and low impact things. And I said, I just feel like I'm turning to rubber. And he said, yeah, he said, you see the movie, Wall-E. He said, remember the Wall-E, where the people on the spaceship, they're floating around on those floating chairs and they got no bones? That's kind of what I feel like. So if you've seen that movie, you know what I'm talking about. So that's the update on the eye, what's going on. So I'm very encouraged by the vision, and I'm trusting the doctors to have the pressure situation well in hand. High pressure is commonly known as glaucoma, and glaucoma can damage the optic nerve and cause blindness. So we don't want that. We don't want that at all. So in the shop I work, and my wife and I actually took on a little project here yesterday that I'll show you. It's just kind of a fun little thing. So I'm still gluing this up. I've made a little frame here. Of course, I had to run rabbit joints here on the corners, glue it, and ran a couple staples in to hold it together. And I'm probably going to sand this nicely. This is for in the house. So what this is we have a cat door. And as our cats age, we find that we want to close the door, particularly at night. And so I thought, I'll just make a little flap that I can put down and latch and whatnot. So this is the frame, and the cat door installed in the wall goes inside here. I hope I measured right that this will go around it. And I think I'll just run some screws through this into the wall to hold it nice and sturdy. And then we got talking about, well, what are we going to do for the actual door part? And I had some 1/4-inch plywood here, and I said, well, why don't we get a little bit creative here and make this look like a kind of a barn door. And so I got out some of my little 3/4-inch by half strips, and I glued these on, and they're only glued on because with the 1/4-inch plywood and a 1/2-inch strip, boy, it's hard to get any kind of fastener in that. I don't have screws that short, and I don't even have staples that short. And I just glued this one on, so it's clamped now for a while, and then I'll have to run the diagonals. I think I'll just run them sort of like that. It's just a decorative thing. It's just kind of a whimsical little thing. I don't know if we'll paint it. I don't know what we'll do, but you know, it's just one of those things where I've got lots and lots of time on my hands, so I'm doing whatever I can and not stressing about it maybe taking too long. I've got other projects too that I need to do, and it's tough to get any of them started because, again, if I need to source materials, I need to go digging through, you know, scrap wood piles. I need to go digging through the new wood piles and bring some material in and stuff. I can't do any of that. I can't lift anything. So if it's not easily available right here, I can't do it. Simple as that. That's frustrating, but that's the way it is. Last summer, I took a trip to my frame supplier and also to the retailer where I get my foundation, and I bought a whole whack of foundation and a whole whack of frames. And I got home, and just as I was unloading, I thought, yeah, I'll make an Instagram. So I took a picture of the whole thing and me standing there and just, you know, getting ready to make frames or something like that. Well, this fellow named Aaron Riker, I believe it was Aaron, who contacted me or commented on my Instagram post. Oddly enough, he was watching my Instagram, and he said, because he could see the markings on my foundation boxes, being in the business, he knew fine well that those were Man Lake Right Cell boxes. And so he messaged me. He says, hey, you know, I'd love to show you what I've got. And I said, yeah, sure. Send me some samples, you know, and I'll take a look at what you've got, and I'll stack it up against Right Cell, and I'll put it on my channel, and I'll tell you about it. Because, again, you know, people watching my channel, I can maybe save you some aggravation. I can maybe save you from buying a bunch of stuff that you don't like, or help you to buy some stuff that you may very well like. So send me a few samples, 4 different things here. And so I'm going to build some frames, put this foundation in them, and I'll make a video on this next summer. It probably might not be until August that I make this video of really how they compare, because I'm going to write on the top of the frame some markings that will tell me exactly what these are. And so that what I want to do is I want to put, because one of the most important things to people is how well do the bees draw out the foundation. So I'll put this foundation in here, in my hives, in the flow, kind of right with the Right Cell, and then I'll show you the differences. And I'm just saying Right Cell because that's what my guy sells, and that's what I buy. You know, it's always worked well for me. I have no problems with it. But I'll give you a comparison of how those two products stack up against each other. And I think I neglected to mention that Aaron Riker, he's in Peerco. All right, so there's Peerco. Plastic frames and foundation, wood frames and boxes, feeds and treatments, and hobbyist and commercial. he says. So that's on his business card. And so right here today, I'll show you what I've got, and then I'll just put them together. I haven't even opened the packages, so I haven't seen it. One of the things I can do is just kind of compare it for how rigid is it. That's one of the things that I look for, is how rigid is the foundation. I know I've used some foundations in the past that are very flexible, and those have a higher likelihood of blowing out in the extractor or warping and then kind of falling apart in the hive or something like that. So we'll check into this stuff right now, and I'll show you kind of how it compares to the right cell sheets. Okay, I told Aaron I use black foundation almost exclusively, and I use deep foundation almost exclusively. He sent me waxed black deeps, double waxed black deeps, and also waxed black, that's white, waxed mediums and double waxed white mediums. So I'll test these 4, and I'll test them against these right cell sheets. So this is a black. I don't believe the color is really making a difference to the bees. It's dark in the hive. Well, why would it make any difference? So that's the only kind of difference that I'm going to test, is I'll test a white foundation against the black one. I don't think it matters. And again, the deep as well. So let's look at these. I just opened the box yesterday. Wrapped them up nicely. So I'll put these frames together today and put this foundation in them. So this is a double wax. This is a double wax. Interesting. How does that feel? I guess it does feel a little more waxy than the right cell. Yeah, it's a little more waxy. Let's see. It's about the same rigidity as the right cell. Right cell might be slightly more rigid still, but they're very, very close. It's not nearly as flexible as the other foundation I had. So that's a double wax deep. How many did he send? Well, he sent 10. That's perfect. That's an excellent number for evaluation. Oh, I don't know. We'll just do it the easy way, right? So this is the single waxed. It definitely smells different than the right cell. I do think that the right cell has more of a beeswax smell to whatever it smells like. That smells like, I'm not saying it's not beeswax, but I would say that single wax has at least as much wax as the right cell. The proof is in the pudding when you give it to the bees to draw out. So let's have a look at the single wax white medium. That has a nice wax coat. It's quite white. The plastic is very white, where the wax is on it that's yellow, of course. And this is the double wax medium. So, yeah. Okay, well, that's all I can tell for now. I was interested to see how flexible it was, because that other stuff that I got a few years ago, boy, I didn't like that at all. So I'm going to build frames, and I'll put these all in frames, and I'm going to write on the top of the bar with my marker as to what they are, and then we'll follow up in the summer when I put them in the hives, and we'll see how they get drawn out. One of the metrics that can't be ignored in comparing foundations is specifically how much it weighs. And the foundation that I was talking about earlier, it's Permanent foundation. It's a man-like product as well. It's far thinner. I guess it costs them a lot less material, and they sell it as a lower cost alternative to Right Cell. Now, I know the Right Cell foundation does have a very deep pattern, and I think it has a much deeper pattern than the Peerco. This is the Peerco foundation. This is the Right Cell foundation. I noticed that the Peerco foundation doesn't have these support spots that are just kind of filled in a little bit. I don't notice those after the bees draw it. Even in a bird frame, they just seem to ignore that. Now, what I've done is I've stacked up 10 of these sheets side by side on my table, and the Right Cell stack is a good half an inch thicker than the Peerco stack. So there's a bit difference. You can see that the Peerco foundation is indeed a measurable distance thinner. And what I'm going to do here now is a benefit, of course, to thinner and lighter foundation is, well, your box is going to be that much lighter, right? And I know Right Cell, I've got 10 sheets of Right Cell here, and that is a considerable weight. You can put 10 frames in a box. That much of that weight of that box is the foundation. So that cannot be ignored as a definite downside. Having a nice strong foundation with a deep pattern is, you'd think, well, that's good. You pay for that because there is a weight difference. I've got my little scale here. I'm going to scale off both 10 sheets of both of these foundations here. So I'll start up my scale. I'm going to do this in grams because it's far easier to compare one weight to another. So 10 sheets of Right Cell, according to my tiny kitchen scale here. I'm going to press hold because I can't see the display. Is 2166. So that's 2.166 kilograms. Kilogram is 2.2 pounds. Okay, I'll clear that, and we'll go for the Peerco foundation. That's 2.11 kilograms. Okay, so that's right around 2 ounces more for the Right Cell, 10 sheets of Right Cell, than the Peerco. So that gives you a little bit. It's not a huge difference, 2 ounces. But, you know, you add that up. My hives generally carry between 3 and 5 deeps of honey when I'm lifting that. I don't often lift it by hand, and I never lift more than one box by hand if I have to lift any boxes at all. So that's just one of those things. I would not say that 2 ounces per box is such a huge deal, but you know, we'll just put that in the list as to what's different about these two types of foundation. It's Thursday, January 11, 2024. I almost said 3. Again, still under doctor's orders. Not a lot going on in here. So I'll catch up on what's been happening this week. Tuesday evening, I attended our regional, I call it Bee Club Association. And that's an association of sideliner and hobbyists generally. There's no exclusion for whether you're commercial or not. I am technically commercial, small commercial. Some people would say I'm not, but whatever. So there's no real definition there, but it's more bee club than it is an industry association. So I'm president of that bee club, and just to flesh that out, I'm also a director on the Provincial Industry Association. So sometimes I might talk about that one, but I'm a director on that, and then I'm president of the Regional Association, I call it. And that's what I call Bee Club. So Tuesday we had our AGM, and being president, I had to conduct the AGM, and I'm really not very good at that, but we got through it, and it was a lot of fun. Good bunch of people. So I try not to get too serious. I have to carry on business, but we don't have to be, too stoic and serious about it, I don't think. So we got a new executive and whatnot elected. We have some people that have decided to leave the executive, and some new faces on the executive now. So I'm really looking forward to this year. So that went really well, and I'll tie this into update on the eye. Last I left you, there was a question about some higher pressure in my left eye, and the surgeon prescribed a glaucoma drop, and so that I started that on Tuesday. Again, that's why I'll tie it in right there. So I've been taking those drops, and it's impossible for me to tell if anything's going on, because you can't tell, you can't feel that pressure, you can't really tell. You have to go to the doctor, optometrist, or the ophthalmologist to find out what's going on. So he's prescribed that for 2 weeks, and then it's a good week after that I see him. So, I'm just trusting that they got it all under control. And so that's that. Weather-wise, people keep asking me, so did you get any snow? Yeah, we got snow. It's 11th of January, and we really, to this point, really had hardly any snow. And it started snowing yesterday, and I think it's still snowing. We've got quite a bit now. I don't know. I look out on the lawn, and it's probably foot and a half deep out there now. We've been experiencing today what's called around here an Alberta clipper. We have two main systems that we can get in the winter. An Alberta clipper kind of comes from the west, as you might guess. And the temperatures are lower. The snow is drier. They usually last about a day. 24 hours, maybe 12 to 24 hours is what you'll expect. It's, I think, mostly gone now. And the snow that it leaves behind is quite dry. It's very fluffy. So you get some wind, and then it all drifts up in piles and ends up in the bush and whatnot anyway. So they're a little bit of a pain. I'm glad I'm not out on the highway today. But what really is a nasty system is called the Colorado low. So they come from the west too, but from the southwest. And that's filled with very moist, heavy, wet snow. And those systems last for 3 days or more. And we'll get 2 feet of heavy, wet snow, high winds, temperatures not as cold as an Alberta clipper, not far below freezing sometimes. But a Colorado low is just what we absolutely despise here. They change your life. They do. And when they come by in April, like they did in 2022, we got 3 of those things in a row. It was just brutal. It flooded everything, and we lost so many bees. It was terrible. So anyway, that's a little lesson on the two systems that we talk about coming through here. They're going to drop snow, an Alberta clipper and a Colorado low. And this was a clipper. So again, the snow is not super heavy. It's easy to clear. A lot of it blows away. And we got away pretty lucky. You just have to just buckle down for a day or so. Don't go out until the roads are cleared and all that kind of stuff. So that's what we've been experiencing there in the shop. You see I've built quite a few frames here. I think this represents 160, and there's another 20, 25 there. So 180, 85 frames. I've got a few to build yet. These, you may be able to see the P on the end of this one and this one. Those are Pureco foundation frames, and I have some Pureco medium foundation here that I'm going to use up. That's a bit of a experiment for this summer, and I'll be making a video on that alone as it goes, but that video won't be out until at very least in July sometime. I want to put it on at the beginning of the flow and watch the bees and give you an idea how the bees handle that foundation and draw it out. In the meantime, in the shop, I gave you a glimpse of the little door that I was building. So that's the exciting thing. I'm building this little door. And some of it's a little bit challenging, but let me just show you kind of what I'm doing here. Okay, I've got it in clamps here, so I'll take those off. And part of this difficulty is that on such a little project like this and fun little thing, I often don't diagram it out just perfectly. I'll just kind of wing it. So as I've showed you, there's a frame here that's going to go on the wall, and I had this piece of piano hinge in the leftovers, so I used that here, and I actually mortised that out. How can I show you that? See how I mortised that hinge into the wood here, so that when it closes, then the door will be flush against there, and there'll be no gaps. Which doesn't matter if there's gaps anyway. It's just, you try your best. And the door, just decoratively, I made it like a little barn door, right? A little frame and some angle pieces here, one in the middle. And I had to go ahead and add this little piece. And again, this is what happens when you don't diagram it out and complete the plan right to the end. I had to put a 1/2 inch more space here, because that's where the screws for my hinge landed. They landed right in the gap between those. So initially I didn't even glue that in there, but it didn't work because the screws didn't go into that piece. They went into the gap. So I glued that. And now I can go ahead and put that little door on. Try some screws. I've got some little 3/4. My plywood's only 1/4 inch. I've added a 1/2 inch piece there, so that gives me 3/4 inch. And these are 3/4 inch screws. So I've got the 3/4 inch here plus the thickness of the hinge, so they won't poke through. That's like building a cat door with $5,000 worth of woodworking equipment. All right, so that's that. Okay, so that'll go on the wall like that, and then we can just lift it up and let the cats have free rein, and then we can push it down. Now, there's two things remaining here. How am I going to keep it closed, and how am I going to keep it open? I think I'm going to keep it open with a magnet, to be honest. I have some little rare earth magnets, they're called, and I can put one in here and put the mating one on the wall. I might need to put I'll need to put a little bit of a piece on the wall, something like this, maybe a little thicker, to put the mating part of the magnet so that it'll stick, it'll be up here. That might be enough because the door will push back. The door will push back a little ways, past center. So that might work, to just maybe put a piece of that on the wall with the metal piece for the magnet on it. I'll monkey with that. And then the question is, how do I keep it closed? Do I want to put a magnet? That'd be easy enough to keep it closed. I could do that. The magnet isn't a mechanical fastener, so it could get pulled open or pushed open from the other side. My cats are pretty crafty, so they might be able to still open it. I think I'd better make a positive catch there. I don't know exactly what I would use for that. I have we'll call it a hook and eye. You've seen those, they're pretty common. I don't know if I can use that or not. Thing about putting something like that on the bottom to hook it closed is the bottom is a long way down, and I don't like getting down there near the floor to do that. So I think I'll think about that a while. But suffice it to say, I thought I'd give you an update on the little cat door. It's a little thing to mess with, and then I'll find the stud in the wall, and I'll just drive a screw through it into the stud to hold it nice and secure. So that's that. I've been doing a lot of association business today. We had a meeting, committee meeting for the provincial association that I'm on, and I've been doing a lot of emails and dealing with business for the regional association as well this morning. So there's lots going on. It's a busy time because, between January, February, there's the AGM for both of those associations. And so then there's the ensuing budget discussions, resolutions, motions, forming committees, and then committee meetings for various things, that need to be done within the association. So it's a busy time, and it's surprising how busy it is. But, with the advent of something like Zoom, it's a good time for it because most people maybe are a little less busy in January. I certainly am. Well, certainly this January. If I was healthy, then that might be a different story. It'd be full production here in the wood shop. But it's good. It's good to have that January, and Zoom does make it much easier. We have lots of meetings on Zoom in January, and when we get an Alberta Clipper, you don't want to be driving 60 miles to go to a meeting. But we used to do that. That's what we used to do before 2020. That's what we did. All right, I think I'm going to leave you with that for today. I'll wrap it up tomorrow. And apologize that they're really not very interesting videos these days. It's January, there's not much happening, and I'm not even in full production in the wood shop, so what can I say? Keep you up to date with the vision thing. Well, the vision is great, but the eye is kind of, needs some help. So for a lack of things to talk about, I'll show you one thing I did yesterday in my lights here. We built this building in 2012. So that means this building is 11 and a half years old. And I just had 5, I think, of these bulbs need replacement. So I had climbed up on my step ladder up to my 10-foot ceiling and replaced 5 of those. Not my favorite thing going up high, but it's not too bad. And I don't think I strained, as far as my eye goes, I don't think I strained myself that way. So it's nice to have, I didn't even notice, they started burning out. There was a few of them out here. And just the other day, I'm over in this corner and I'm thinking, it's not very bright. Why is it? And I looked up and there's 3 bulbs gone out above me here. And so we had a discussion. Of course, you don't want to throw good money after bad. You want to make good choices. And in today's environment, energy prices going up and whatnot, I entertained upgrading to an LED bulb or an LED fixture. So I talked to the nice man at the store about that, and he kind of told me what I knew. Turned out it's not worth it. When it comes to these fluorescents, they cost me $7.50 a piece, and they lasted over 11 years. So if they lasted 10 years, that's easy math. 75 cents a year. An LED, I could upgrade that to an LED fixture for, anywhere from $70 to $100 or more. And how long would that LED last me before I needed to make a change? Would it be 10 years? Would it be more than 10 years? Would guarantee that it would cost me more than 75 cents a year for the next 10 years. So I just decided, you know what, we'll just do that. LED, it's fluorescence, easy to change, easy to source, not expensive to replace. We'll just do that and move ahead. It's nice that the new ones, and I don't know if the green is meaningful or not, but the little metal piece on the end is green, and the old ones, it's silver. So I can see which I've replaced and which I haven't, if that's meaningful at all. So I'll talk to you again tomorrow and, let you know what's going on. So as always, take care and have fun. It's Friday, January 12th, 2024. Usually I'll say that there's only 3 more days of work this week, but I haven't really been doing a lot of work. I did build 40 more frames today, though. I finished off some black deeps with the right cell, and then I put together the 20 Pureco foundation frames that Pureco sent over. And again, that's going to be till next summer before that gets tested out. So I'll let you know how that goes. Yeah, I've just been puttering in the shop. I'll tell you, I'm having a hard time with this whole can't work thing. The prognosis, though, is January 31st. January 31st is when I see the doctor. And I don't believe there's going to be any point between now and then that any medical professional tells me that I'm okay to go back and do some work. So I've got a long ways to go yet. That's 19 days away. I should have been sitting by my computer learning a second language or something. It's what I should have been doing. I could do that. Something kind of fun has come my way. Brent Nixon of Nixon Queen Bees in Australia contacted me, and he wants to talk to me on his podcast next week. I believe we've set up Tuesday, noon, Tuesday Central Time. NixonQueenBees.com.au is his website, and then from there you'll find a podcast. You'll be able to find it on Spotify and whatnot. I don't know much about podcasts, so I don't really know how that's going to work, but it's not a video thing, it's an audio interview. So I think that's going to be kind of fun. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm quite humbled that somebody would ask me to do something like that. So he seems like a really great guy. I've been talking to him on email, setting this up, and so I'm really looking forward to that. But so that's all I've got for this week. I hope you enjoyed what I put out here this week, and I hope you found it interesting. And maybe I'll have something a little more interesting next week. I don't know. Anyway, I'll leave you with that. I really appreciate you watching, sticking with me in this. For now, I'll just say take care and have fun, and have a great weekend.